Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Global Offshore Company. Are you ready to explore the in and outs of offshore business banking landscape? If yes, you're in the right place. Let me take you to an active client consultation session to learn more.
Good morning.
Hello, ma'am. This is Quinn from Global Offshore Company. May I first know your name and how can I support you today?
My name is Annie, and I would like to incorporate a new Hong Kong company and a bank account. My company is dealing with cleaning products like laundry pots, and we mainly doing importing and exporting business.
Okay, so I'm happy to assist you with the company formation and, of course, also offshore bank account opening for the company. And you mentioned that you're doing cleaning products, import export. But can I also know the clients and the supplier that you mainly deal with for your company? Where are they coming from?
My
Because
clients are mainly from China, Vietnam, Malaysia, and Singapore.
I see. So with that, I would best advise you to set up a company in Hong Kong because this jurisdiction would be best for your line of business. With that said, may I also know if you are currently engaged in the same business line that you just mentioned?
Not yet. It's the first company, but I already have connections with the suppliers and the potential customers. Which banks do you offer?
I see. So for us, we only partner with traditional bank and neobanks or virtual banks that support the landscape of offshore company business, where operating presence is not locally fixed. So with that said, we highly recommend the following reputable virtual banks: Pioneer, AOLX, Ping Pong, Aspire, and Currency for offshore company and startups, as opposed to traditional banks such as Big Bank's policy recently have tightened up significantly for most of offshore businesses. In regard to traditional banks, if you still can able to meet their requirements and refer business profile, then we work with OCBC Singapore, HSBC Hong Kong, ABC Banking Corporation Mauritius with the branch in Hong Kong, and First Caribbean Bank BVI.
Wow, that sounds interesting. So can I apply for traditional banks?
Truthfully, traditional banks refer to work with offshore business with verified financial records from either existing business or personal sort of funds. And, and if for startup, they need to have funds secured from established venture capitals. New offshore business that fall outside of the two above categories have a much lower chance to get a application's approval. So therefore, the main reason is due to the lack of operating presence locally, like many offshore companies usually fall into. Reputable banks raise concern for money laundering risk and impose rigorous requirements for such offshore businesses. However, if you can meet the following initial requirements of traditional banks, we can start to attempt with the applications. First, you need strong financial proofs and history of at least 2 or 3 years of the existing business. Proof of business activity from 3 top customer and suppliers. Things such as invoice, contract agreements, bank statements, supplier and customer website, their business profile, anything that proves the real activities, business activity of your company by proving the real presence of your supplier and customer. And also, most traditional banks have a high initial deposit of at least 5,000 to 50,000 USD, and also account opening fee, monthly maintenance fee, and other applicable fees.
I see. What are the solutions if I don't meet the requirement of traditional banks?
Oh, okay. So let's say if you cannot able to meet those requirements of the traditional bank, uh, so recently due to the tightening policy of traditional banks I mentioned, right? Then you can consider neobanks or virtual banks like I just mentioned also above. These neobanks and virtual banks have now become trusted banking solution for new offshore businesses. Let's use wholesale trading as an analogy to explain this business model between traditional bank, virtual banks, and end client businesses like yourself. Traditional banks would be the wholesaler. Neobanks or virtual bank are the retailer, and offshore businesses or new modern businesses will be the end user of these banking products. So the banking landscape actually established this business model I just mentioned to be able to expand the products offering to new modern businesses such as offshore companies like yourself while staying compliant to their government policy, especially stay in compliance with money laundering and a lot of policy that the government impose on traditional banks. To combat money laundering risk, traditional banks need a middleman who acts as a risk bearer in order to extend their banking products to new modern business such as offshore businesses and startup with no secure fund from venture capitals. So that would be another option for you is the virtual banks, like I mentioned above, the bank that we work with for the last 3 years, that were all reputable virtual banks that you can consider. So with that said, do you have any further question for me on traditional bank process?
Wow, your explanation is really clear. I totally got it. Thank you. So, may I know more information about the neobanks that you are working with?
Of course, to further learn more about virtual neobanks, let me introduce you to our virtual bank specialist, Ms. Hannah, who will advise you further.